Check, 1, 2. We live. What's good? What's hood? What's poppin'? Welcome back to the Burnell Washburn podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. It feels so good to be alive. I appreciate you tuning in. Shout out to the Gratitude Gang, all my Patreon supporters making this possible. I love you guys. I'm feeling blessed. I'm feeling amazing. And I got some good vibes to spread for you today. So I want to talk about the energy of alignment. I just went through one of the most unaligned weeks of my life, and then I got back on the last few days. I've just been getting on this crazy beautiful frequency and just feeling like I'm back on the right vibe that I want to be on, and feeling super grateful for slipping off that vibe because I have infinitely more content and wisdom and things to share with you guys, because I feel like I just grew a lot in the last couple weeks. So long story short, I basically built up my whole year to my birthday show and my birthday weekend. For some reason, that was going to be the pinnacle of my year in my scripting and visualization and stuff. And I just all year had this feeling every time life was hard, I was it's all good, because around end of August, everything's just gonna be thriving. I'm gonna be abundant. Everything's gonna work out. I'm gonna have my car by then. I'm gonna have this by then. I'm gonna do that by then. And I had these really high hopes for August, and just in my mind that was gonna be where this year just kind of hit its peak. But instead it was the opposite, and I hit a low point. A lot of things didn't work out the way I wanted them to. And I got really bummed about it at first. But then instead of fighting that, I basically the day after my birthday, I woke up basically the most depressed I've felt in years. And I was just man, I just really thought everything was going to work out my way on all these different aspects of life with this festival and this show and some business opportunities and just life in general, and everything just crashed and burned, and I was really down because I felt like I gave it my all. And I don't really get that down. If I half-assed something and it didn't work out, then I'm not that bummed about it. I'm that was my I didn't really try that hard. But when I give it my 100%, 1,000% best effort possible, and it doesn't work out, it's really discouraging. And I'm sure you can relate, where you're just you've tried to give your all in something, and you've put all your time and energy and focus into something, and you really had, high hopes for it, and then it just totally didn't work out. And it's just it's kind of devastating, and it starts to make you rethink your whole life. So I was just thinking, maybe I need to get a job. Maybe I need to quit doing this dream and really play myself, because I'm just, it's when maybe I'm reflecting on it, because I got it, I realized I was age, but an age older, which is just a fucking silly number. My body age says it's 18 when I do those body age tests. So that's what I really feel like I'm 18, but I see this number and it's oh, I'm 29 now. Whoa, I had hopes of being this certain place by 30. Everyone's I'm gonna be a millionaire by 30 and da-da-da-da. And then you start getting close to that, and you're not even, and you're damn, I'm nowhere near where I wanted to be. And then you start to reflect on everything, and you're my inner critical voice just was really loud, and all I could think about was all my failures and shortcomings, and all I could think about was the people that weren't supporting me and the things that weren't going my way and what was wrong in my life, and I knew my focus was off, because I always preach that, but I was just so heavily focused on the wrong things, and I couldn't shake it. And so I realized, I took some of my own advice, okay, instead of fighting this and trying to get back onto a high frequency, I'm going to use this emotion as part of my purpose. If you heard the episode on transforming energy and emotion, it's all about that. It's you're not supposed to be void of negative emotions. You're just supposed to work through them and move through them and use them as part of your purpose and part of your mission. It's beautiful to feel all different emotions. So I'm so grateful that I had that wisdom, because I was able to feel these super low vibe emotions, and then instead of fighting it and making it worse or suppressing them and pretending they weren't there, I allowed myself to feel all of them. And I was just I'm fucking angry right now. I even, for the first time in years, described myself as feeling depressed. Told my friend, I'm just feeling really depressed today. And it's with, you guys hear me talk about neuro-linguistic programming and how language shapes or creates our reality. And I would never really say something like that, but I was feeling it, and so I said it. Like, I really was feeling it, and um, it was beautiful to just let myself, like, feel all these negative emotions, quote unquote negative emotions. And instead of forcing myself to get back to a positive focus where I'm like, I know I should be focused on my blessings and like opportunities and keep it moving, and I can't change the past. And I just keep thinking about things that happened yesterday or last week or last month or 10 years ago that I was still upset about. And I'm just like, that's it's wasted energy usually because it's in the past. I can't do anything about it. Like, all I can do is make different choices moving forward and, keep going. And it's just like, long story short, I felt like everything was like going to work out in my life and finally hit this like point for some reason. I don't know why I like put so much expectation on like this specific time in my year of like, this is when I'm going to be like for sure just crushing the game. And every time I was going through hardships all year, I just like, it gave me comfort to think that like, all this hard work that I put in, or all this alignment that I put in, and all this, energy I put out is going to come back to me. And it's going to come back around this time in this way. And that was my ego trying to control, like instead of like trusting in God's plan and trusting in the universe, I was like trying to, be in my masculine energy of forcing things to happen and like controlling how they'd happen and when they'd happen and all this stuff. And I didn't realize that at first. Like, I thought I was just being on point, and I was being really good with all my good habits. Like, I went basically 90 days of good habits. Like, I started at the beginning of June. You might have heard me talk about that on a previous episode, where I went all in and fully committed myself to these good habits. And I was like super disciplined on eating healthy and working out and meditating and journaling and making all my content and like just everything, and coaching, like all the stuff that I was doing, I was consistent with. And I felt like, okay, since I've been on, controlling all my actions and behaviors, then everything's going to for sure work out how I want them. And it was funny because I realized like after all this didn't work out, I was like, oh shit, the reason none of this worked out is because I was trying way too hard. And I was so focused on the wrong things. I was so focused on what I was going to receive and what the outcome was going to be, rather than falling in love with the process and doing it because I love it. You know what I mean? And I always preach that, but it's so easy to forget your own advice. That's why, I commend you for listening to this podcast and other content like this, because we all need these reminders like constantly, Even if you listen to a podcast episode and you've heard all that stuff before, you're still going to gain lots of value from it. And if you can't really explain the concept to someone fully, then you don't fully understand it. You got to keep listening over and over. Repetition, it really helps. And, we all need these reminders. So it's like big ups to all of us for going on these journeys of trying to grow and listen to content like this, because it really does help. But I realize, was not taking my own advice, and I was basically hyper focused on the outcome. And I was focused on myself, and I was focused on all my focus was on me. Like, what am I going to receive, or what are my problems? And I really need this to happen, because if not, then I'm fucked. And this, like, I was so focused on myself and what I needed to happen in my life, rather than who I was serving, how I was providing value, and just falling in love with the process. Because when you do things because you really love them, the outcome is always infinitely better. But when you're doing it because you were expecting a certain outcome, you're almost always let down. And I just it was a beautiful, harsh reality reminder of that, of you make beats because you love making beats, not because you're making money off them. You play shows because you love performing, not because not because they pay your bills or whatever, and it's like all these things. Yeah, I'm running a business. I need my shit to work out, but I need to trust the universe more than anything, and trust that if I'm doing what I love because I love it, it will work out. When I'm truly just making beats because I'm not worried about, if they're going to sell or not, and I just love making beats, they end up selling, flying off the shelves. Every beat I make just sells instantly. But when I got to sell this many beats because I got these bills coming up, and this beat better sell, and this next, I'm making a beat right now, and I better make something that's really fucking good because it has to sell. I put all this unnecessary pressure on myself, and then I block my own creativity, and then I end up not selling anything and blocking myself because I'm trying too hard. And it's the same thing with anything. If I'm making a podcast or a YouTube video because I need to please my subscribers, or I need to make sure that like my Patreon supporters don't get let down because they're throwing money on this, and if I go 2 weeks without episodes, and they're all gonna abandon me and like never trust me again, and like it's these silly hardships that I put on myself. But I like, get back into alignment and realize, oh dude, it's all about loving the process. It's all about falling back in love with why I'm doing this in the first place. And when I go back to that space, I create the best content, and I do make the most money, and everything works out how it's supposed to. And it's just like, it's beautiful to remember, like, the constant lesson from the universe is like, things don't always work out how you want them to, but they always work out how they should and how they're supposed to, and how they always work out for your favor. Even if it looks like it's not working out in your favor, it is in your favor. So something going completely wrong is actually the universe saving you from yourself and making it, it's like, it's giving you what you need rather than what your ego thinks you want. It's giving you what your soul, your higher self wants. So when you remember that, it's just so much easier to surrender and trust and be like, everything is working out, and I don't need to try so hard and stress about everything and try to be so controlling of reality. I can just take it a moment at a time, trust my heart, go within, tune into the source energy that's within me, tune into the divine, tune into higher self, tune into, the collective consciousness of ascended masters and angels and, benevolent forces of energy that can assist me, and just go to the higher realm and really get aligned. And then you end up taking the action. I think I got like off track right there with what I was saying, but I got all like crazy out there in space for a second. But no, when you really get like aligned, you realize you don't have to control things and try so hard, and you're just like, all right, I can let it flow and just trust every moment I'm going to be guided. And my GPS is my joy. My joy tells me which way to go. Whatever feels like the most fun and the most enjoyable thing to do in that moment. And there's this weird balance, because like normally it's like whatever's the most enjoyable is the right thing to do. But that doesn't mean it's always the easiest thing. It's like sometimes the most enjoyable thing on the higher self level is to take the cold shower, is to do the hard workout, is to make that phone call, is to go deal with that hard situation. So it's not, I'm not saying your GPS is the easy way, because there's a lot of value in doing the hard things. I'm all about doing whatever's hardest, doing it first, and tackling life's challenges and not running from them, and not, like, because you get stronger from doing the hard things. But it's like this weird conundrum, and I hope you can follow me without getting lost. But it's like, I'm sure you can, because we're on a fucking dope level here. But there's this weird balance of like, you only do what lights you up and you only do the fun things, but you also face the hardest things. And so you're not taking the easy route. You're not copping out and just like, I'm going to sit down and watch Netflix because that's the, and sometimes that might be the path of least resistance. That's actually what I did for like 3 days after I got out of alignment, and it helped bring me back into alignment. And so I did just binge out and watch Netflix, but we'll talk about that in a second. But your GPS, your guidance system, your internal intuition is like telling you to do what feels right. And sometimes what feels right is to do the hard thing. Like I just barely got out of a cold shower. I haven't even gotten dressed yet because I got so much inspiration and guidance on like what to say on a podcast. Right when I did this beautiful meditation. At the end of the meditation, it was like, take a cold shower right now. And so I jumped in the cold shower. And the second I got out of the cold shower, I was like, I gotta say this and this, and I gotta record a podcast right now. So I just went and hit record, and here we are. But and that's how it feels like to be in the flow. That's how it feels like to be on a higher vibration and be aligned. Like that's the energy of alignment. It feels like things just work out super easily. They just flow. So real quick before I forget, I'll talk about the whole Netflix binging thing. But like, basically I got so out of alignment. In order to reset, I was like physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually exhausted. to the point where like my nervous system all it could do is basically just like all I wanted to do was like sleep and just watch TV, and couldn't really deal with life for a couple of days. Because when I was trying to deal with life, it was just I was just causing more resistance, trying super hard, to get back on a high vibration, and I knew that wasn't going to work out, so I just let go and surrendered, and I actually kind of got intuitively guided to like, dude, just take the next few days. I actually was guided saying you can take from now until September 1st off. You can do whatever the fuck you want until September 1st. That's like 6 or 7 days I gave myself to get back into alignment, so to speak. And I was just like, you can do whatever feels right. You don't have to do it. You don't have to work out. You don't have to meditate. You don't have to make a podcast. You don't have to do a YouTube video. You don't have to make any music. You don't have to upload any beats. You don't have to do any of the things that you do. And it was the most freeing thing in the world. I never let myself do that. And it was like crazy because I realized the only reason I needed that many days to do that is because I never let myself do that. Now I'm going to start letting myself do a little version of that every day. I'm going to cut my work off at 8 p.m. After 8 p.m., I don't do any work, and I'm going to allow myself to watch a movie and just chill and binge out and whatever. Because I realize, when you work a job, you clock out and you can be done working for the day, and that helps you recharge for the next day. So, like, if you're constantly just working until you burn out every day or every week, then you're putting yourself in danger, and that's how you get to this massive burnout point that I got to. Where I was just like, I tried so hard for so long without letting myself rest enough, and then I just hit a wall, like on all levels. I was just exhausted, and I was guided to just chill and watch movies and just do whatever. After a few days of that, it started feeling like shit. But it felt really good at 2 to just be like, you know what? I can just let everything go. Everything's gonna be fine. I'll get back into alignment. I will make awesome content again. Everything, I'll pay my bills and everything will work out. And it's just all gonna, I'm gonna get back on its own, but I'm not even gonna try. I'm just gonna let it flow. And I gave myself like a reset date. Like, okay, September 1st, you're going reset. You're going back to beast mode. You're going back to the high vibrational habits on all levels, and you're gonna be ultra consistent from September 1st until Christmas Eve, and then you're gonna give yourself like another week, But I'm not going to burn out because I'm going to take more breaks, throughout the week and throughout the days. But it was like cool to give myself this reset button from now until September 1st. You don't got to do anything. And you can give yourself that time anytime. If you're feeling off like right now and it's like September 7th or something, you could just pick an arbitrary number. Like you like the number 11th. Like, okay, on September 11th, or like on 7th, I don't want to use that date. On September 12th, I love the number 12. On September 12th, I'm just going back to the high vibe habits, and I'm just going to be like, super on point. But until then, I'm going to let myself off the hook and let myself reset and recharge and relax. It's a beautiful way to just like, rather than trying super hard, if you're really deep in a funk or if you really hit a wall, give yourself that time and space to relax and recharge, and don't force it. Don't force yourself to get back on this high vibe. Like I always talk about, we don't need to be on... I didn't need to be on a beautiful frequency in order to make all my content and do all my things. Like, I just felt like, I'm going to make better content if I wait and don't do it and don't even try anything right now. But anyway, I hit a wall. Things didn't go my way. I surrendered, and then I got back into alignment naturally. And the more I got back into alignment, the more I just felt desire to like listen to like higher vibrational content rather than like, because at first I was just like watching whatever type of movie on Netflix, pretty much escaping reality. And then as I slowly slipped back into alignment, it's like, okay, now I don't really want to, I still want to chill and watch something, but I feel like listening to Joe Dispenza on YouTube instead of watching some random Netflix comedy or something, And I just, started wanting to meditate more, started just eating healthier and healthier again. And like my habits didn't fall that far off, so it wasn't too hard to get back on. But like, I definitely just let myself go for a couple days. Like there was like a day or two where I didn't even get dressed. Like really, I didn't even change my clothes and didn't clean my house. I didn't do any of the things I normally do. And it felt great to like give myself that freedom and that permission to be like, you know what, my life is not going to fall apart. I don't need to be like crazy on point every second of every day, or else it's all just going to crumble around me. Like, it's okay to just fucking chill for a bit. And it was beautiful. So now I'm back in alignment, and I want to talk about what alignment really feels like. So alignment, it's weird. When I'm not in alignment, I don't see my lucky numbers. I don't see the angel numbers at all. When I'm in alignment, it's like every single time I look at the clock or the phone, there's a lucky number, one of my angel numbers or one of my luckiest numbers. Like right when I knew I had to do this podcast, I sat down and recorded it and pressed record, and right when I looked up on my laptop, it was like 124. And I was like, of course it's 24 right now. You know what I mean? 24 is one of my luckiest numbers. So, but it feels like everything's just flowing. I'm feeling more confident in who I am. I'm feeling like other people's opinions don't really matter as much because I just know where I'm going. I'm way more focused on who I'm trying to serve rather than my own self. I'm not worried about my problems. Like my focus, like I've talked about the flashlight metaphor before. If you've heard that episode, my flashlight is pointing towards those that I can serve and those that I can add value to rather than myself and all my flaws and all my problems. And that's like the biggest switch you need to hit anytime you're in a funk, is like you just need to flip that flashlight around, because when we're focused on ourselves, all we can see is our own problems, our own shortcomings, our own flaws, our own, everything that's not going going like perfect in our life is just hyperly focused on. But when we flip that flashlight around to who we're serving, it's like all our problems seem to just fade away. It's weird. I don't even understand how it fully works, but it's like consciousness just like melts away those problems. They don't seem like that big of a deal because we're just like we're in service of something higher and something bigger. So that's the switch that we all need to flip, is just turn that flashlight around. And alignment also feels like I'm super inspired to create. Like I'll be like wanting like watching Netflix or something will sound good, but then like I'll get so inspired I'll end up like making beats and doing podcasts and being more productive instead of doing that. And it's like I won't even get around to the lower vibe things, even if they do sound fun. Usually they don't, but it's like the lower vibe things sound less and less appealing. Like when I'm in alignment, I want to eat healthy. It's not like I have to use willpower to eat healthy. That's all I want. My body craves like the high, right now, like I could hella go for some watercress and some fennel and like just high vibrational nutrient dense plants from the earth. But when I fall out of alignment, it's all of a sudden like I want comfort food. Like sugar just sounds so good. Like I just like cookies and candy and pizzas and cakes and all this shit just sounds great. But when I'm fully in alignment, it does not really sound good. Like it's, you could think about it for a second and then you're like, no, you know what? Like watercress and a cucumber like literally sounds like way more fire than a pizza or some ice cream does right now. And you can have healthy pizzas and healthy ice creams. I'm not, saying that, but it's what I'm saying is you just feel it's easier to make the more higher self choices when you're in alignment. Alignment also feels like you're prioritizing self-care and self-love because that's how you serve better, and you're taking care of yourself, but you're not like feeling bad or guilty about it. You're taking those long meditation bubble baths and you're getting that amount of sleep, and it's easier for you to like self-care is not just always the bubble baths and the CBD bath bombs and shit. It's like telling people no because you have priorities. Someone invites you to do something and or ask you to be a part of something, and you have an easy time turning them down because you have like where you're going and what your mission is, and you're excited to work on all this stuff. Like when you're out of alignment, you wake up and you feel like there's nothing exciting to do at all. Like you feel like this work, like you could almost see this whole beautiful, magnificent earth with just infinite possibilities as like a boring place. But when you're in alignment, you're just like, there's so many things that I would just love to do right now that like it's almost hard to even focus on the past or the future because you're just like so stoked on what you get to work on in the present. When I'm fully in alignment, I wake up and I'm just like, yes, I can't wait to record a podcast. I can't wait to make beats. I can't wait to go on a hike. I can't wait to write a song. I'm excited to do this. I could do that. And like, there's all these possibilities in my mind of things that I would enjoy doing. I mean, when I'm out of alignment, it's just like, well, I could do that, but that would suck. I could do that, but I don't want to do that. And I can do that, but I hate doing that. And it's like So funny. But when you're in alignment, it's just like the whole universe just seems like it's endless possibilities of fun, and you're just surrounded by blessings and opportunities and magic around all corners. And it really feels like, hold on, I'm actually gonna go get my phone real quick because I wrote down a bunch of notes this morning of like what alignment feels like. I had like a little download, so I just want to go over this little like alignment checklist, so to speak, with y'all real quick. Okay, so I got my phone. I have this little note that I just brainstormed this morning. And I was like, what does alignment feel like? I wrote seeing magic lucky angel numbers nonstop. I already mentioned that. I'm super excited about what's to come. Like I'm looking forward to things. I'm focused on all these things that are going to be happening or that might happen in the future that I'm excited about, instead of like thinking about things that happened in the past that didn't go my way. I'm ultra stoked to work on whatever I get to work on. I already mentioned that. Insanely grateful for everything, just deeply appreciating my blessings. I have a lyric that says, so easy for the mind to slip into what I lack and what I fear. But when I focus on what I'm grateful for, that's the moment I see clear. And it's just like, so true. When you focus on what you're grateful for, that's the moment you start to really realize, you start to wake back up. But it's so easy to just hyper focus on what you're scared about, because that's kind of what the brain is designed to do. I wrote a strong desire to execute on my good habits. I have a strong desire to eat healthy and kind of eat light and like do more fasting and just kind of nurture my body with what it needs rather than indulging in just like mouth pleasure. You know what I mean? And you can do both, but I want to give and serve. I want to shine my light on like who I can add value to. I just have this super full heart. Like I just want to love everybody. I just love everybody. I look at the world and I'm just like, look how awesome everyone is, rather than like constantly looking at, all these people and judging them and criticizing them. I'm like keeping things clean and organized rather than letting them kind of get out of whack. I'm refeng shuiing and decluttering and organizing and cleaning and just staying on top of that. When I'm in alignment, I'm like ahead of schedule. Like I'm kind of doing things earlier than I need to. I'm not waiting until last minute, like, cause I'm excited to work on them. So I'm not waiting until like there's, till I'm late on something in order to try and figure it out and throw it together. I'm just like, I'm like way ahead. So I got it done so far ahead of time that I got to go up in the mountains and just go chill for, a day because I'm ahead of schedule. Like that's what alignment feels like. I'm going the extra mile when I could just do like the bare minimum for something. I'm going like above and beyond to try to serve more, whether that's in my business or just like as a parent or as a friend or whatever. I'm trying to go the extra mile. Light shining on who I can serve instead of what I fear. I already mentioned that. Desire to create for the fun of it, just like I said, falling in love with the process. Going out in nature more often, everything just flowing more, like I'm getting my way, like kind of easy, like things are just, I'm not trying to control them, I'm just letting things flow, and I end up getting my way more often than when I'm trying to control them. I'm just trusting in the universe, and I'm like grateful for, like I realized this after like my birthday show was like, I wasn't that stoked on, like it just did not work out, like, and a lot of the business got screwed up because of some communication issues, and this festival thing happened, like, and neither of them went how I like wanted them to, because I had so much expectations going into them of how they should go, and I realized they were my least favorite events of the whole summer, because all the other events of the whole summer I had no expectations for. Every single time I was like, I'm going to this festival, I have no idea like what it's going to be like, it might suck ass, but who knows, I'll go rock a set and we'll see what's up. And then it ended up being like magical every time, and I'd be like so happy I went. So that's what it feels like when I'm in alignment. I'm just going with the flow, trusting the universe, and it ends up like giving me my way, way more than if I'm trying to like force it to go my way. Being in alignment also feels like a lot of high vibe people are reaching out to me, trying to build with me and connect with me, or they're just kind of showing me love and checking in with me, and like, saying that they they got love for me or they like my content or whatever like that. It's like I just feel like more connected to other light workers and other people that are on a higher vibration, obviously, because like whatever frequency you're on is what you're going to attract. When I'm in alignment, I feel like I get online and all I see is positivity. Like everything, I'm just like, whoa, everyone is thriving. Everyone's in a good ass mood. Like all these people are killing it. Fuck yeah, this is dope. When I'm out of alignment, I get online and see the exact opposite. Because again, you're only gonna see the world that's within you. Everything is you pushed out. Everything is just whatever frequency you're on is what you're gonna. You can't tune into the country station and hear like a bunch of rap music. You know, well actually you can nowadays because they're like, gonna take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't come home. I can't believe I just sang that on my podcast. Anyway, I'm looking through these notes here. It's super easy to forgive others when I'm aligned. Like people that have wronged me or done something that I perceive as negative or something like that, or even myself. Like anything that I've was critical about in the past, I can like look at that situation and just forgive it so easily. Be like, oh, I did like that the other day when I said this or acted like that, and I was mad at myself about it. Like, oh, that's not a big deal. I was just out of alignment. Like, oh, I was just operating from like my monkey brain or the lizard brain or whatever you want to call it. Like I was just operating from like a lower programming. I was smashing my mic and dropping shit. Jesus, knocking shit all over the place. Let me get back up in the hot spot. Yeah, it's easy to forgive myself and others and be like, oh, that was just because I was in the lower self. It's no big deal. That wasn't really me or that wasn't really them. Like, and it just it's so easy to forgive, but it's really hard to forgive when I'm out of alignment. And it's after I talk about this list, I'm gonna give you guys like a quick little process to get back into alignment anytime you fall out. Rapid self-healing. Like I just got out of this meditation where I'm pretty sure like my knee injury is just healed for good. Like I just went so deep into a healing realm after listening to Joe Dispenza, and I'm pretty sure we're fucking set now, fam. So I'm really excited about that. I feel amazing. And when I'm in full alignment, I can like literally heal. Like they say Jesus could perform miracles and like instant healing, you know what I mean? Because he was like enlightened and so on such a high vibration. And when you really are, you can heal things like instantly. When I'm in alignment, I'm easy on myself. I'm not like trying so hard. I'm easy on everybody. I'm not so critical. Like my inner critic kind of turns off and I become more compassionate. I become less judgmental and just more understanding and accepting of everything and everyone. If I'm out of alignment and someone does something that I perceive as like low vibe, I'm going to be like critical and judgmental of it. But when I'm in alignment, I'm just like compassionate and loving, or I don't even think about it. When I'm in alignment, I'm just constantly like scanning the world with loving eyes, looking for ways to add value. I'm just looking around. Who can I serve today? Who can I help? Who can I be of service? Who can I brighten up their day? It's like the whole world is just this like beautiful little playground for me to go love on and spread love and help people on it. I'm just like constantly looking for ways to uplift people. But when I'm out of alignment, I'm just constantly thinking about my own problems and what I'm scared about and what might happen and what if this happens and all that. My phone's about to die, so I get through all these notes. It's just easy to stay consistent with my higher vibe habits and like do the higher vibe things, you know what I mean? And when I say higher vibe, I need to probably find like a better phrase for that. It's like a lazy term that I've started to use too much, but you guys understand what I mean by that. I'm going to bed earlier and waking up earlier usually. I'm just following my bliss, not trying too hard, doing what feels right. I'm feeling confident and free, like I'm allowed to be myself and have fun and do what my heart and soul wants instead of thinking I have to be a certain way or have to, put myself inside this imaginary prison based on like past or current circumstances of like who I'm allowed to be and what I'm allowed to do and all this stuff. Like when I'm in alignment, I just feel free. Like I recognize the God, the divine creator inside of me, and I can do and be and have anything. I'm stoked on the present moment. I don't really need anything because I have everything I need to do what my heart wants. You know what I mean? It might like not like all my desires are present, but it's like I don't need these desires. These are just things that would be cool and fun, but I don't need them. Like I'm already stoked. I'm just sending love and gratitude messages randomly. I get inspired to just tell people how much I love them and appreciate them, and I feel compelled to just reach out to people and send them good vibes. Taking the extra time to take care of myself. I'm like more mindful when I'm eating. I'm keeping my appearance on point because I'm like not because I care about what people think of me, but because I want my outer appearance to reflect my inner space. I want my outfit to like kind of resonate with how I feel, how dope I feel inside. When I'm out of alignment, I feel like just rocking like sweatpants and looking like all grungy, whatever. You know what time it is. I'm buying more gifts for myself and for others. Like if I see things that I want, like I'm allowing myself to be like, yes, I could buy myself that. Or I can, oh, so and so would like that. I'm gonna buy that for them. And I'm feeling like if I'm gonna see someone, I just like think about what can I give them. Like, oh, I could have a little crystal, or I could give them this, or they would like this, or I got some extra apricots right now. I'm gonna hook them up. Like I'm just always thinking about what I can give. Going out of my way to help others instead of being all caught up in my own problems. Inspired ideas just keep coming, and I just take immediate action. Like today, I felt like I need to record a podcast. I didn't wait. I just literally, I didn't even get dressed. I just came over here and started recording. You know what I mean? So, I just have this overall sense of knowing that I'm on path and I'm exactly where I need to be. And I'm not as worried about life. Like I just know like this is all part of the process. Like I said, I'm less judgmental and less critical. Like I don't find myself around the lower vibes and the, negativity as much, but when I am around it, I'm just like not criticizing it or judging it. I'm like observing it like unbiasedly and not like even reacting emotionally to it. Like I don't get tangled up in it. I just let it be what it is. My inner voice is louder than all the external noise combined. Like I just have this deep sense of knowing what I want, and like other people's opinions are kind of just irrelevant unless I really look up to them and are really seeking their guidance. Like I'm just laser focused on my vision. I'm laser focused on one thing at a time. Like nothing else can distract me. Like I can just put my phone in the other room and just do things for hours without even remembering that I have a phone, because I'm just not letting myself get distracted. I'm getting more done in a few hours than I used to get done in weeks, because I'm just tapped into a flow state where my productivity and my focus are like all-time high, and I'm just so in love with the process that time kind of speeds up and slows down at the same time, and I just like it's easy for me to get a lot done without trying too hard. It's easier for me to make decisions, and I just like know what I want faster. It's easy for me to say no to anything that doesn't really light my heart on fire. I have a greater connection to my inner child. Like I just want to play and have fun more and like be silly and goofy and not take things so seriously. When I'm out of alignment, I'm like being really serious and stern and like stubborn on how things. But when I'm aligned, I'm just like fun and playful and goofy, and like I want to make people laugh and like move my body and have fun. And things just start working out for me. Like things that I was worried about just kind of work themselves out. Like, and anytime something doesn't go my way, I like immediately turn it into a blessing, because I can perceive it that way. And I just like immediately trust that it's because it's meant to go a better way. It's meant to go this other way that's going to be even better. Like, and I'm instead of just freaking out about something not going my way, I'm just like, all right, this is how it's meant to be, or this is going to be even better, or I wonder what awesome surprise the universe has in store for me then. Like, if I'm out of alignment and I go to meet up with someone and they cancel on me last minute, I get so bummed. Like, I'm just like, I start thinking I don't even want to be friends with them anymore, and like, just all this like negative energy is flowing through me. But when I'm aligned and someone cancels on me, I'm like, oh, perfect. Awesome. That means I was meant to do something else. That's going to be perfect. And like, I get all stoked. Because I'm like, I guess I was meant to like do work on this thing today. And then I end up like getting something awesome done. And if the original plan would have worked out like it was supposed to, then I wouldn't have done this other thing that was way better. So like, like times when I missed a flight, or they canceled a flight on me, but instead of freaking out, I get back into alignment, and they all of a sudden give me an upgraded flight to first class that gets me home even sooner, and they give me a travel voucher. Like, that shit's happened to me multiple times, because I get onto the right frequency of rather than just like trusting that when something doesn't go the way I think it's supposed to go, that's because it's something better was supposed to happen, rather than like immediately thinking like, oh well, this is a failure and everything sucks and and like just immediately getting into that bad energy. Like, it's just so easy for me to trust when something doesn't work out. Like, it's meant to work out a better way. Fuck yeah. Okay. Either way, I'm blessed. Either way, I'm set. And just it's easier for me to make peace with the worst case scenario. Like, when I'm in full alignment, I can like, okay, if this does happen, if this thing that I am super scared about, that my mind won't shut up about, like, this negative thing that I keep focusing on, if this thing does happen, I'd actually be fine. Wouldn't even be that bad. I've gotten through way worse stuff than that. I've actually, did getting through stuff like that make me stronger? Hell yes, it did. Okay, cool. Bring it on. Even if it does happen, if it doesn't happen, then awesome. But if it does, then awesome too, because I grow and, like, it's just, either way, I have like a win-win-win mentality with everything in life. So that's what alignment feels like. And now that I've talked about what alignment feels like for me, I want to talk briefly about how you tap back into alignment when you feel like you slipped off. And I kind of mentioned earlier how I just let go. So that's step one. Step one is just that's step two. Step one is to just feel all the feelings. Feel all the feels. If you're feeling angry, allow yourself to feel angry. If you're feeling sad, be sad. Just don't get caught up in it, in the emotion, and think that you are the emotion. It's just something it's an energy that's going to pass through you. It's not what you are. So even like I was careful the other day when I said, when I told my homie I was feeling depressed, I didn't say I'm depressed. I didn't say I'm so depressed right now. I said, I'm just kind of feeling depressed today. And it was okay for me to admit that without being like, I'm going to create a negative reality by saying that. It's like, if I keep saying that, then yes, for sure I will. But saying it once will actually allow me to not suppress it, because I just, even getting it out, kind of realize, actually, okay, I'm not really depressed. I'm just down today. Like, and then you start to like, sometimes when you make something a little exaggerated and ridiculous, then you can like, if you're angry, you could be like, I'm just absolutely the most livid I've ever been. And then you can like laugh at yourself. You're like, all right, I'm really not that livid. Like, I'm just slightly upset. And just by exaggerating it, it kind of helps you downplay it, because you can laugh at yourself a little bit. At least it helps me. So first thing is when I'm out of alignment is just, rather than trying to force back into alignment, I just allow myself to be out of it. And you can even enjoy being out of alignment. You can enjoy being angry or upset, and you can say, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy what it feels like to be on this lower frequency for a minute, and I'm not going to stay here, but this is, I'm going to grow and learn something from this. And so you just kind of have this radical acceptance instead of really trying to suppress it or change it or force it. Then step two is you just want to let go and surrender, and just stop trying so hard and stop trying to force anything, and just let yourself recharge and rest and reboot. Like, start nourishing your body with more sleep and slowly, bring yourself back. Like I said, if you want to pick an arbitrary date, starting this day, I'm going to get myself back onto, and like, you got to know yourself, because a lot of people might set that date and then they just keep pushing the date back or something like that. For me, when I set that date, there was like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, I never even imagined a reality where I didn't kick back into high gear on September 1st. Like, it was inevitable for sure. And I honestly kicked back into gear like a day or two before that. And I knew that was going to happen. I was like, just September 1st is kind of the latest that I'll be back on, like, And I decluttered and feng shuied my house and just, reorganized all the files on my computer and my Google Drive and my business documents, and like, I got myself re-clean and organized after I allowed myself to rest and chill for a few days and not try too hard. And then I started listening to high vibrational content, podcasts and YouTube stuff rather than the Netflix stuff, and exposing myself to the high vibrational energy again, and tapping deep into the meditations again, and just slowly bringing all my really best habits back, and remembering what it feels like to be like just crushing the day and having like, living in my higher self. So I just slowly integrate that back into me, and then I start getting really re-inspired. And what I did is I recaptured a vision of like what my life could be like, rather than, because at first I was really discouraged. It was hard for me to like have any motivation to do anything, because I was like, I just gave it my all and it just didn't work out at all, so maybe I'm just completely on the wrong path or something. But then I got re-inspired and I was like, nope, I'm not on the wrong path. It's just another stepping stone in the journey. Like, let's keep going, let's keep fucking going, let's do it. And I got re-inspired about what my life could be like again, and recommitted to the good habits. And just I started putting plan in action about, like, I just started journaling a lot and meditating a lot and getting re-stoked on life, and doing some more future self meditations to, like, because doing a lot of future self meditations a year or two ago started really kicking me into this like super inspired flow state where I just was massively productive, because I felt like I had such an exciting future that I was building. It's just like every day I want to get up and work on it all day. Um, and then when you start losing sight of that beautiful future because you're just caught up in the mundane reality and you're thinking about the present circumstances and things that happened in the past, and your immediate needs, then you lose sight of that vision and you start losing motivation. So I tapped back into that grand vision, and like then my immediate needs didn't seem that as important. Like, of course, yes, I gotta pay rent and I gotta feed myself and I gotta do these things right now, but I'm not too worried about those things working out. Like, everything's gonna work out. I'm more focused on the bigger picture. So it's beautiful to tap into this, grander vision of 5, 10, 20, 30 years down the road. And then it makes like the problems of this week kind of seem minuscule. You're like, all right, I'll get through this week. I'll get through this month. It might be hard. I'll get through it. But like, where I'm going to be in 30 years is so awesome. I'm not going to let like some struggles of this week throw me off of like being that person and embodying that energy of my higher self. And because it's not just about like visualizing your future self and then going back to your old ways. It's about visualizing your future self so you change who you're being, because you see this potential reality and it's so beautiful that you're changing all your habits, actions, behaviors, words, friendships, everything to align with that, because it's like so beautiful. And you want to live that life so bad that you're just like, or you're so excited to go experience that reality that you want to embody it now. You're not just like, I'm gonna keep like, you don't visualize yourself with a fucking amazing body and perfect health and then just go back to like eating like shit and never working out, and just like expect someday your future self person you're gonna turn into that person. It's like, no, you connect to what it feels like to be that person, and then you get out of the meditation and you want to be that person right now. You want to literally act and talk and behave and do everything that person would do, because that's the highest and best version of yourself. So after like letting myself just feel the feelings and then letting myself recharge and rest, and then tapping back into the higher inspiration and awesome influencers online that can help me think a little bit better. Then I tapped into the future self meditations and all that stuff, and I started getting really excited, and I replanned like my life and was just like, I'm going to do this, this, and that. And I started having all this clarity just by giving myself space. Giving myself space and time to not create gave me all these inspiring ideas of like what I need to do with my business. Thinking that it was okay for me to not upload anything on YouTube for a minute and my channel wasn't going to fall apart actually gave me like 3 or 4 really solid ideas on how the channel is going to grow, and action steps that I can implement. Where I wouldn't have gotten those downloads on those action steps if I would have just been working. Like, gotta take time off to have some clarity. And same thing with like taking some time off my beats and all this stuff. Like, just everything I took time off of, I got greater insights on how I can actually be better at it. So in the bigger picture, if we look at the whole year or the whole decade, me taking off that week to not make that content actually was the best thing for that content, because it helped me re-strategize, and like I rethought about my whole business structure and my whole business model, and started putting new organization in place so I can actually free myself from it, like, and hire a team and do like only stick to my core genius and do what like really lights me up and not be like a slave to my own business. You know what I mean? Like I went into business for myself for freedom, not for to give myself another job. You know what I mean? And you can do that very easily, as a lot of young entrepreneurs. We do that. We give ourselves this job where it's like I constantly have to perform and show up, and it's like, how is this really that much better than working for a job? It's like, just because I don't have to go to someone else's office and punch into their time clock, like I still have to keep showing up and doing work all the time in order for the money to come in. So that's not a real way to build wealth. You know what I mean? And now I'm taking some time off from the business helped me really like analyze that deeper and put some strategies and take some actions and put some strategies in place for like how I can build real wealth and how I can take my companies to the ultimate level where I'm not like they're working for me, I'm not working for them type thing. And I just got so much clarity. So if you are out of alignment, if you're in a funk right now, or if next time you catch yourself kind of having some off times, like go back to this episode, and this episode will remind you of what alignment feels like. And you're like, oh, it'll just by hearing what alignment feels like will help get your subconscious back onto that level. But also just remember, like, it's okay. It's actually part of alignment. It's almost like there's no way to be out of alignment, because part of being in alignment is falling out of it and coming back to it or something. Like it's a trip. Oh, 224, lucky number again right now. I think that's a perfect time to end this episode. So, I feel like I said for everything I wanted to say pretty much. But, yeah, we'll wrap it up there. I fucking love you guys. Thank you for listening. Shout out to the Gratitude Gang. Shout out to all the Patreon supporters. If you got any value from this episode, drop a comment, share it, send me a message letting me know you listened to it. Do at least one of those action steps to help us grow this podcast so more people can be impacted by this information that we're spreading, and more people can, feel these good vibes that we're pushing out. And I love you. Have an amazing rest of your day. Remember how blessed you are. Remember to focus your flashlight on who you can serve rather than, shining it on yourself, because that's going to get you out of your own funk and help you rise back up into that higher self. Stay blessed. Much love. I'll catch you on the next episode.